was Christmas Eve, the mother and father had to pop out to chop down a tree and to cut sprigs of holly. So they said to their little lad, "Stay here and keep an eye on your baby sister." But of course he never listened, for his back was turned and his head was bent. He was playing kingdoms and toy soldiers. He did see from the corner of his eye that some fairies had crept into the room, but he never realized what mischief they were up to, not until his mother came home and started screaming, "Where's my baby? The cradle's empty!" Then there was a commotion. The mother was raging and crying, and the father was brandishing a stick to beat his son. The little lad fled into the coal shed where his white cat was sleeping. He stroked her awake and told her everything that had happened. "The fairies snatched my sister," he cried. "I'm in terrible trouble. I love her dearly, but it's my fault that they took her. What can I do?" Now, on Christmas Eve, some animals get the power of speech. So the white cat stretched herself and blinked and said, "I reckon that between us we can rescue her. Go and fetch some salt tied up in a nice clean handkerchief. Then I'll take you to some friends who can help." The little lad didn't need told twice. He sneaked inside and he stole some salt. Then he followed the white cat through the village to the parson's house. In the garden, the parson's donkey was waiting for them patiently, the dark cross on her back gleaming in the frosty moonlight. "A lad's salt and a donkey's cross," said the white cat softly. "That'll keep us all safe from those tricky fairies. Now we need to fetch the church Grim, for he'll know where they've taken your sister and how we can get her back." So the lad climbed onto the donkey's back, using her ears as reins, and he rode to the church with the white cat running alongside. Then they spied the Grim, beaming down at them from the top of the wall. "I saw the fairies. They took the baby into their hollow hill," the Grim cried. "They've left the door wide open, but they put a magic mist gate in front of it to keep you away." He jumped down and came dancing out. "Don't worry, I'll go along and I'll keep the mist gate open. Then once you're through it, I'll take you into the hill and I'll lift the baby into the lad's arms, for he mustn't get down off that donkey's back or the fairies will grab him too." The church Grim jumped up onto the donkey behind the little lad, and then the donkey and the white cat raced out of the village together, almost as fast as the wind. As they neared the fairy hill, sure enough, a white mist came swirling around them. It was so thick the little lad couldn't even see his own hands clutching the donkey's ears. Through it they heard the sound of merry pipes drifting loudly from the hilltop, along with impish laughter and stamping feet. The Grim clapped his hands. The mist split into two, revealing a wide open door. The white cat raced in, followed by the donkey, with the lad and the Grim still on her back. And there they saw the lad's baby sister. She was lying on the floor unharmed, smiling and gurgling in her sleep. The Grim leaped down, snatched the baby, and thrust her into the lad's arms. "They're coming!" cried the white cat. "Act quickly! Sprinkle salt on her face!" No sooner had he done it than the fairies came storming in. But when they saw the cross on the donkey's back and the salt on the baby's face, they flinched and jumped with blood-curdling shrieks. The white cat tweaked the donkey's tail. The donkey spun around and bolted off, carrying the little lad and the baby. The white cat followed at her heels. The fairies came after them, snapping, pinching, howling, but the Grim ran ahead. He darted up to the church tower and he swung from the rope, filling the air with the sound of holy bells. And that finished off the fairies. They all fled back to their hollow hill, every last one of them, and they locked their mist gate tightly. The little lad and the white cat thanked the Grim. They took the donkey back to the parson's garden and then went home. There the cat stretched herself out in front of the fire, purring contentedly as if she had been there all evening, and she never spoke another human word all her life. As for the lad, he shouted for his mother and father. "Come and see what I've brought! I've brought our baby back!" Of course they came rushing, and they were so glad to see their youngest one safe and sound that they never even wondered how or where she had vanished, or how the little lad had found her. And the little lad thought it was best not to tell them.